International Student Life. We tell stories, and our story is international student education in Melbourne, Australia. And welcome to this short news update, which is all about student accommodation. And what we'll start with is a quick introduction. The Lord Mayor Sally Capp welcoming international students to Melbourne at Melbourne's famous Queen Victoria Market in March 2023. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
And we are absolutely delighted to be with you tonight for this very special Queen Victoria Market night market, which is all about welcoming our international students. Students over the last 3 years, and we've also been so grateful to those who stayed for persisting and showing so much resilience. Our latest stats show that there are 138,000 international students back in Victoria, which is 92% of pre-pandemic levels. Because international students aren't just valuable on our campuses and in our tertiary institutions, they're fantastic customers and consumers, they're wonderful participants and volunteers, they're incredible workers in our local businesses particularly, and this is about setting up relationships for the long term. If you are an international student, could you please put your hand up?
Volunteers to compete.
So today's news, just a brief run through for around about 10 minutes. Earlier this year, there was a report in Australian local media. Some international students are frustrated by lack of help from universities as they face mind-blowing rents. If you're not in Melbourne or anywhere in Australia at the moment, you may not know that it is very, very challenging for international students to find accommodation, whether that be on campus or in share housing on the public rental market, or even if you're looking for a homestay option. And 40,000 students, international students, were expected at the start of 2023 in Australia for first semester classes. So what we wanted to do is provide help to you. This International Student Life, we're an honest broker of information around international student education. We're not paid by any government body or any university, so all the information we collect and publish here on our platform is for international students or prospective international students or their parents or professionals in the industry. And about 2 years ago, we presented a whole lot of information. Say g'day to Melbourne as you arrive in Melbourne. And let's give you a short 90-second example of all the different type of content we've got, because free advice is available for international students at any time. So let's take a quick look. So there you go, and we have a whole lot of information here for international students, or if you haven't arrived in Australia yet, we'll just let that play in the background. For the moment, we have a lot of content available. If you're looking to settle into life in Melbourne, if you've just arrived here, we'll take this back to the start and just let this run in the background for the time being, and we'll keep it silent because there's a narration over the top of this footage. So to keep it simple, so let's just go back to the topic for today, that international students who are frustrated by a lack of help from universities as they face mind-blowing rents. So first of all, if you are an international student in anywhere in Australia, if you have any questions, make sure you go straight to your international student support team. Every university has one, and they'll be willing to help you. In fact, they're paid to help you. So if you've got a problem or a question about any topic about life in Australia, make sure that you make good use of the help that's available. But back to this topic, why is this such a topic that's been raised earlier this year? The report says that universities have failed incoming international students and exacerbated problems for those already struggling to find a place to live by selling off student accommodation to private enterprise providers during the COVID period. And this is a point of view held by certain student advocates. Now, as we said, 40,000 international students have arrived back in Australia in time for their first semester studies. And this is especially earlier this year after the Chinese government announced that they were announcing a snap ban in recognising online degrees obtained from foreign institutions, which affected Chinese students. And students unable to access visas, flights or accommodation, the report said that they were able to seek an exemption from this ban, but only after their degree was completed. Now, upon arrival in Australia, every international student had to deal with an incredibly tight housing market here in Australia. In fact, housing shortage is dire here in Australia, and since the start of this year, when this report was released in The Guardian, we take all our information from the public domain, it hasn't improved, and some would say it might have got worse. The National Union of Students President Bailey Riley actually said, he was quoted as saying it's a failure on the part of universities. So going through this, we can see that during the COVID period, this report, and we'll put a link below in the description, and it's just talking about a number of universities which sold off a lot of an incredible amount, millions of dollars worth of property during COVID, during 2021, of course, when international students, a lot of them, most of them had to return to their home countries because they weren't able to get any support from the Australian government, unfortunately, and that they couldn't live here without working, which of course we're all in lockdown. So mainly these universities in Sydney and Melbourne, and here we've got a quote, if you're familiar with student accommodation provided by Scape or Dwell, some of the private providers, in 2023, early 2023, a large studio apartment at Scape, that's SCAPE, and many of these Scape complexes, student accommodation is around RMIT University in Swanston Street. There's also a lot of student accommodation in Parkville, around the Peter MacCallum Cancer Clinic and the Royal Women's Hospital, the Royal Melbourne Hospital. So that could be upwards of $759 a week for a studio apartment, and that's about $300 more than any other listing at that time on real estate sites, which research was undertaken there. And there's also in Flagstaff Gardens, another student accommodation building, studio apartment rooms for rent were between $500 and $559 Australian dollars. So it's it certainly is a very hot issue still. It is, and just to let you know, we're based in Melbourne, Australia, and the topic of housing, not just for international students coming from overseas to study in Melbourne, but accommodation for Australians who live here, who aren't even university students. It is very, very tight, and it is very challenging to get accommodation anywhere in throughout the country. And to finish off with, we'll just finish off with a anecdote that the report quotes about a former University of Sydney student, and they didn't give their name in this article. They lived in a single room run by a university institution the rate was 356 Australian dollars a week through the 2020 lockdowns until 2021. And they talked about their living conditions, where a double bed was squashed into a corner of their room, and their kitchen and bathrooms were communal, and that means that they were sharing kitchen and bathrooms with other students, and the heating and cooling was a wall heater and a fan. And the student was quoted for saying that the channels, the availability to talk to somebody for feedback was very limited. Their room, they felt, was quite cramped, especially on hot days, and that communal kitchens and bathrooms that everyone shares, international students share with other international students. This person felt it's not quite a setup that everyone can tolerate around issues around cleanliness and upkeep, and it depends on the self-discipline of people living there, doesn't it? And if you've got experience, even in your own family, let alone a share accommodation situation, it's always tricky with individuals coming from different backgrounds, different cultures. You're definitely going to get a clash of personalities, and people have different ways of living, don't they? So the main thing is securing a place to live. So we will finish off there. We'll put a link below in the description or the comments about this article, and you can see for yourself about this topic. So definitely the recommendation from this Australian student life is make sure that you're familiar with not just the course that you're applying for, but the city in which you plan to live. Take some time to research the landscape around student accommodation. Some universities let you live on campus. You might be eligible for that. You also might want to explore homestay options. Now, homestay options are with regards where your university helps introduce you to a local Australian family in close to or not far from the university you choose to study. And it's not uncommon for international students to board with these families, and you'll pay board there. It may be a lesser amount that you'll just be taking a room, and you'll share family meals and family experiences, and that could be a good option for some people. Not everyone, but some people, and it's certainly not uncommon. So that's all for now, and we would like your feedback, but before we do that, let's just take a short break, and we'll have a look at Victoria University's new campus that was opened last year, the new Tower campus, in Queen Street, Melbourne. So don't go away. We'll be right back. And so that's all we have for this particular edition, this live stream. Let us know what you think, and do give us some feedback, negative or positive. What news would you like to see this International Student Life covering in the future? We try to keep very innovative and dynamic with regards to the information that we publish. And as we said, Wise Words Media that produces this International Student Life, we are not paid by any government body. We don't receive any grants or any type of revenue from any of the universities. We're not paid to promote any universities. So you can believe us when we say we're an honest broker of information. We aggregate and publish information that's out there in the public domain for the benefit of all international students, whether you're studying in Australia or thinking about applying, and especially for your parents. It's a big financial outlay to send your child overseas. So we hope that this information is of help to you. So please give us some feedback, negative or positive. We don't mind. Let us know whether this is helpful or you'd like something else covered. And if you have any questions especially, we love getting questions and happy to try and help you out. And if you can share this content on your social media with your friends, your family, you might be a professional in the tertiary education sector, you might be an international recruitment agent, please let us know. So before we go, just a reminder, please like and subscribe where you can, and thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll chat to you soon. So that's all in this episode. We've somehow managed to fit all the information in. The other thing I would like to say, and just remind you, is that this channel is, we are based in Melbourne, Australia. Wise Words Media has a lot of experience in international student education, creating marketing, video and audio content for international students. We also have a lot of experience settling people from overseas into life in Melbourne since 1979. We love showing off Melbourne, and we love helping people get familiar with everything this city has to offer. So make sure that you make the fullest of everything life in Melbourne has to offer through your university. Your International Student Support Team has many activities throughout the year, not just orientation week. There's many things to take advantage of, many clubs and societies. And if you're a student whose language, English, is a second language, don't stop yourself and be anxious about joining in. Get involved, practice your English, find conversation clubs, and we'll wrap it up there. You've been listening to This International Student Life. We're based in Melbourne, Australia, and we want to thank you for joining us in this episode, and make sure that you subscribe, hit the notification bell. You don't have to pay anything. It's free to listen, free to watch, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now. This video contains nil paid promotion. All international student information is compiled from sources available in the public domain. For further information, visit your university website, international student offices, or an international education recruitment agent in your country. This International Student Life is produced by Wise Words Media and Calumny Films. We accept no responsibility for any errors or omission of information in this video.